Hi, and welcome to my build series for the Dragon Bones downloadable content update for Elder Scrolls Online. This is going to be the Stamina Templar. So let's get into the sets we're using. I'm using a 5-piece mechanical acuity on the front bar. This is in order to control the proc, which happens every 13 seconds. Depending on your damage being dealt. Every attack will be a critical strike for 5 seconds. So every 13 seconds you get 5 seconds of full-on criticals. You want that on your front bar. I'm running an Axe Nirnhone with a poison damage on the main hand. I'm running a Dagger infused on the offhand with a weapon damage enchant. On my back bar I'm running an infused Maelstrom bow with a weapon damage. You could run poisons if you'd like, it's fine, either way, but the same DPS. I'm running Veladrith on for my monster set, but I could swap out to Stormfist, and the DPS doesn't change too much. Actually, it remains pretty similar. My second set on my Stamina Templar would be War Machine. War Machine is a great set. Every time you use an ultimate ability, you gain Major Slayer for 10 seconds, increasing your damage on dungeon and trial monsters by 15%. It's huge. It's a very good set, very good support set. In place of Mechanical Acuity, you could run Night Mother's Gaze. For that, I would be running 2 daggers for the extra crit, because the 5-piece says when you deal critical damage, you reduce the enemy's physical resistance by 2580 for 6 seconds. So that would be what I would run if I was going to be a support player in a trial. If I was going full damage, I would do Mechanical Acuity War Machine. If not going full damage, I would do either Night Mother's Gaze, War Machine, or Sunderflame and War Machine. Alright, so let's get into the skills. First skill on my front bar is going to be Biting Jabs, ALDRIC skill, an ALDRIC spear ability. Basically, the reason why we use ALDRIC spear, you have a percentage chance to deal an additional amount of damage, and you get extra critical damage done against blocking targets. And just critical damage done, I believe. Yeah, it's got some pretty good passives. An ALDRIC Spear. That's why we use it. Power of the Light, second ability. Dawn's Wrath. Generates ultimate every time you cast it, which is great. Gives you grants minor sorcery to you and your group, increasing your spell damage by 5%. And reduces the magic stamina and ultimate cost of your ability by 4%. It's great. Dawn's Wrath is a great tree, and having Power of the Light slotted gives you those beautiful passives. Restoring Light, passive. The only one we're really looking for is this one here. It's basically for rezzing. You get really powerful rezzes as a Templar. So let's get back to the skills. Deadly Cloak would be our third skill. Reduces the damage you take from area of effect attacks by 25%, and it does damage over time, which is a great ability. It lasts for almost your entire rotation, so you cast it once, you go through your whole rotation, and in your back bar, once you get back to your front bar, you're going to cast it again. It won't end, but you'll have it up at all times. Raining Slashes. This does upfront damage and damage over time, and it also acts as a snare. It's a really good bleed dot, so you want to keep that in your rotation at all times. Rearming Trap, it's a morph of Trap Beast. Just morph this to Rearming Trap. You only cast it once every other rotation, or you can cast it every rotation. It really doesn't matter. The reason why we do it, it does do damage up front and damage over time, but we cast it for the minor force, increasing your critical damage done by 10%. And then for our ultimate on front bar, Flawless Dawnbreaker, we don't ever cast this. We have it slotted for the extra 5% weapon damage. However, this is a good AoE ultimate. You could cast this in trash pulls and it'd be fine. Moving to back bar, we have Endless Hail, which does 1365 physical damage to enemies in the target area every half second for 10 seconds, so you get 20 ticks of that. And that's around, it does about 26,000 damage every rotation, a little bit higher than that, 27. Razor Caltrops, upfront damage, and then it does 1846 physical damage every 1 second, and snares the enemy for 12 seconds. So by the time you get back to your Caltrops, you should be casting it again, and it should just be falling off, but I don't think it'll fall off for a whole tick, depending how fast you are at your rotation. Poison Injection. I don't have this leveled up all the way, but once I do, I think it'll do just a little bit more damage. Either way, very good ability. This acts as a passive execute for all stamina classes. Damage over time deals up to 240% more damage to enemies under 50% health. I'm not sure if that'll go up as it levels up one more, but either way, it's an amazing ability. I have Repentance on my back bar. Why do I have Repentance on my back bar? This is a great way to sustain as a Stamina Templar. This will restore you stamina for every corpse that's in the area and health. You could be almost dead and out of stamina, and you hit Repentance if there's enemies around, and you would get your second wind. It also gives you minor fortitude, minor endurance, and minor intellect, increasing your health, stamina, and magicka recovery by 10%. It's a great ability. And the last ability is the oh crap button. You hit this when things are looking bad. You need to maybe heal someone next to you, that kind of thing. It happens to me occasionally in Veteran Mob Lorcage. I'm standing next to more stam DPS, and occasionally I know that Stamina Nightblades don't have room for a heal on their bar at all. They don't have room for vigor, so you gotta give them vigor once in a while. You just have to, especially if the healer's busy kiting meteors or something like that. Sometimes you just gotta press that button. You gotta suck it up and maybe lose a second or two on your rotation, but you do have to. Sometimes you have to use this ability. Crescent Sweep. This is the ultimate that we go to. It's 72 ultimate. You can get this every other rotation, and this will proc War Machine. This is what you're using to proc War Machine, and you're getting it every rotation, so it's up all the time. Okay, let's look at our character sheet. We don't spec into crit when we're using mechanical acuity, so that's why my weapon critical is so low. We try to keep our weapon critical as low as possible, our weapon damage up, so when we do crit, mechanical acuity procs, and we get, hold on, let me so you get 145% crit with mechanical acuity. So it guarantees that you're going to get a crit no matter what. So you don't need to spec into crit. I run the Warrior, which is what All stand DPS should be running. Don't run the lever in a trial unless you're told to by your raid leader. I would keep it right where it's at. I do 64 into stamina, and I'm using blue food. Don't use dubious camera and throne, you don't need it. And so let's go into the champion tree now. I'm running 8 physical weapon expert, 28 master at arms, 61 thaumaturge, 51 precise strikes, 28 into piercing, 64 into mighty. For the red tree, I'm going 56 ironclad, 10 spell shield, 56 thick skin, 56 hardy, 56 elemental defender, and 6 into quick recovery. This is your trials tree, or dungeons tree. This is all personal preference. Whatever works for you, I would say do it. This is just like a guideline, kind of. For the green tree, I'm running 35 into Warlord, 75 into Mooncalf, 75 in Tenacity, 37 into Tumbling, and 18 into Shadow Ward. That about covers it for this build. I hope this helped you. Take care and enjoy. Leave a like if this helped.